Hi everyone, Old Guy here, and today's book is Hilary Mantel's Wolf Hall. For those of you who are read up on English Tudor history or English royal history in general, or watch that rather risque Showtime series The Tudors, or the Masterpiece Theater series Wolf Hall, which is taken from this book, then you know the name Thomas Cromwell, great-granduncle of the more famous or infamous Oliver Cromwell of English Civil War fame, and former Chancellor of England. Depending on your view of which television series you favor, Thomas Cromwell is either a bad guy or a hero. In The Tudors, he's a bad guy. In A Man for All Seasons, a bad guy. But here he's a good guy. Well, at least a practical guy doing what's best with an intolerable situation. And what is that situation? An oversexed King of England wants someone to prove that his wife, Catherine of Aragon, is not really his wife, so he can dump the dumpy Catherine for the luscious Anne Boleyn. And Henry is ready to behead anyone who either A, disagrees with his intention, or B, can't bring it about. Like Cardinal Wolsey, Lord Chancellor and Thomas Cromwell's boss, who was a roue and epicure and a delightful guy, but who simply cannot convince the Pope and the King of France and practically everybody in 16th century Europe with half a brain that Catherine is not Henry's legitimate wife. Can't even convince himself. But it's good to be king, and Wolsey is thrown from his exalted position and arrested for treason and dies on the way to the Tower. All because the king has the hots for a little hottie. Do you Brits still wonder why we colonists threw you out? This should have been the end of Cromwell, relegated to a mere historical footnote as a capable Wolsey retainer who ends up headless as part of the Wolsey Purge. But Cromwell is very capable, more than capable, and he manages to not only shake off the dust of Wolsey's fall, but next thing you know, is Henry's #1 advisor and go-to guy for all things royal, including getting rid of that pesky Catherine and installing that luscious and quite vicious Anne as the next Mrs. Henry. How does he do it? That's the fun of this book, because Thomas Cromwell, as depicted by Mantel, is one fun guy. He just is. Running away from his astonishingly brutal home life, teenage Thomas is a soldier of fortune in France and an accountant in Italy before washing up on Wolsey's doorstep, competent and tough and brilliant. Just brilliant. One of those people whose native capabilities ensure his prosperity, no matter what the situation. He marries well and has a family and then loses them and then has a surrogate family, and all along he is battling wits with Thomas More and the Howard family and the Boleyns and King Henry himself, and manages to keep his head and even improve his fortune. All with acerbic and cutting wit and a grand sense of humor that should have gotten his head removed on at least a dozen occasions. But he's just so much fun to have around that even his enemies are willing to cut him a break, so to speak, at their ultimate expense. Now, this is not an easy read. It took me quite a while to get through this 600-page plus tome. Mantel has the annoying habit of ignoring English punctuation conventions, and you're going to have a hard time figuring out who is saying what in the middle of some rather involved conversations. Much will depend on context, but bear with it because this is an extraordinary novel. Fascinating, well worth your effort, even if the titled Wolf Hall only appears as a mention in a few places. And why is that? Because Wolf Hall is the home of the Seymour family, and Jane Seymour is a small, frightened little nothing of a girl in this novel, but we all know what an impact she is going to have. Think of it as a portent of things to come. And who knew Thomas More was such a snippy guy? Old Guy here. See you later.